Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Storyist. In life, we often offer help to others just because we pity their situation. Or perhaps we can't bear to see them in pain, or maybe because we know how it feels to be in their position. But what we don't realize very often is the reality that even the tiniest of help we can give to someone can create an endless ripple, and that our simple act of kindness can go a long, long way. Today, I will be sharing with you a story about an act of goodwill that went a long way when a man gives a random boy $30. Then 20 years later, a millionaire comes knocking at the man's door. Stay until the end of the video to find out who the millionaire is and what happens to the kind and generous man. A simple act of kindness always goes a long way. This is what Otis has been taught throughout his life. Even though Otis was not born to a fancy family, and even though the home he grew up in was not built in beautifully carved stones, he was proud of the home his family had that was built by love, and for him, that is the most important thing in the world. The most prized possession in the world is not money, but love, his mother would always tell him and his 4 siblings before going to bed, reminding them that even though life was unfair to them, they could never trade their love for any diamond in the world. Otis lived his life in poverty. His father was a carpenter, but he never had a regular job. He would only be summoned when needed, and at times when he did not have any job, he would go to the wet market to help lift sacks for delivery. His mother also had no regular job. Both of Otis's parents did not finish their education, leading them to their life now. His mother would accept laundry services from neighbors so they could have extra income for the household. Otis really lived through a tough life, but he never complained about that, not even once. Despite growing up with no money, Otis was a studious boy, so he would always study inside their room after class, thinking that he could finally make their lives better in the future. However, despite having high hopes and dreams for himself and his family, they could not afford education. So Otis had to stop studying and start helping his parents and other siblings in earning enough money for their household. Again, despite this undesirable fate, Otis still managed to smile and perceive the world in rose-colored glasses. He always thought that one day things would turn upside down, that one way or another, even by just selling fruits and vegetables in the wet market and along the streets, he would be able to rise from the ashes that they were in. And he also believed that life was never unfair, nor life was never bad for their family. It just waits for the right timing. Little did Otis know at that time that he was absolutely right. Years passed, and Otis is nowhere close to his dreams. He wanted to be an engineer when he grew up, but he is 25 years old now, and the only engineer-like thing he has done is to hammer down tools in his occasional construction jobs. Just like his father before, he only receives on-call jobs at different places and at different fields, and the wet market, construction sites, and the port area, and many others. He never really had a proper regular job. Otis used to believe, since he was a kid, that life is never unfair, that everything that is happening to them are only challenges that they need to overcome. But that moment in his life, he is starting to feel like his fate is never really going to change at all. He is starting to lose hope in life and is starting to feel lost. But his kindness never fades. One morning, while he is walking towards his construction job, he stumbles upon a young homeless boy. The young boy has a few eggs in his basket, and he is covered in grease. Otis easily feels pity over the child. He might have been poor all his life, but he never experienced being homeless like the boy. He thinks to himself that he is still lucky after all, because he has a house he can rest in and a complete loving family he can go home to. He hopes the child is that too, but guessing by his appearance, Otis assumes that he may not have a home. Out of pity, he gives the young boy $30 in bills. "Here are your eggs, sir," the boy politely tells Otis, but Otis declines and refuses to accept the eggs. "No, keep it," Otis says. The boy is confused. "But you paid for it, sir. Don't you want the eggs?" he asks, baffled. Otis tells the boy that he can keep his $30 and keep his eggs as well. The boy is surprised and utters his thanks over and over again. "I will never forget this, sir. I promise I won't," the kid says. Otis just smiles at him and starts to walk again. But then the boy calls him out. "Wait, sir. May I at least know your name?" asks the boy. Otis tells him his full name and starts walking again. He feels empty because all he has that day is $30. It's still going to be his money for meals in the following days, but he can fill up with cheap bread and water for a few days, and that young boy may not even know what to eat that night. So he feels satisfied that his $30 will at least do some good for other people. But what he does not know is that his $30 will go a much, much longer way than just that little boy's dinner. For 2 decades, Otis has lived his life the same way. He accepted construction work when needed. He would go to the wet market to lift some heavy sacks and so on. But despite that, a lot has changed in his life too. In his 30s, he met his lovely wife, and now they have their own son. Otis is determined to send his son to school no matter what it takes, so he is working extra hard to give his child a good education, the one thing he has never attained on his own. One day, while he is preparing a homemade dinner for his family, someone knocks on their makeshift door. Otis comes to the door to see who it is. Outside, a man in a corporate suit and a suitcase stands firmly. "How may I help you, sir?" Otis asks. The man asks if he is Otis Smith, and he nods his head. The man then introduces himself to Otis. "My name is Gene Miller. I'm here to offer you a job at my company," the man replies. Still confused, Otis asks the man how he found him from a trail of makeshift houses. The man smiles at him and opens his suitcase. Otis is surprised to see eggs inside it. 20 years ago, the man starts recounting, I met a very generous man who gave me all his $30 without a second thought. That $30 was a lucky bill to me. It made me sell all my eggs in the next 20 minutes. Since that night, I always go home with sold-out eggs. I was able to study because of my egg business, which later on expanded and became an industry of egg products. Now I am here, asking that very generous young man from 20 years ago to help me expand my company even bigger, the man in suit narrates. Otis can't believe what he just heard. The little boy he did not hesitate to help 20 years ago is now a millionaire and is asking him to be his business partner. Otis congratulates the man for his success, and he accepts the offer wholeheartedly. The duo's business turns out to be one of the best in history, and it helped Otis reach his dreams for his family. He realized he might not have been able to be an engineer, but he still managed to be successful, all because of a simple act of kindness. And he also realized that he may have experienced a penniless childhood, but because he did not let that thought hinder him from helping others, it came back to him millionfold. That was when he remembered what his mother would always tell him when he was a kid. A simple act of kindness always goes a long way, and that waiting for life to be fair for you will always be worth it. That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed that video, and we'll see you in the next. Stay tuned.